head is hurting in this process to me is a message from the body. Anything, any body messages in the session are messages from the unconscious mind. So I would, like, me as a hypnotist, I'm like, thank God. Yeah. Like, the body's talking. That's what's happening. The body speaks, right? Rather than getting it from the subconscious mind, which still might be getting impacted from conscious thinking, right? Not entire clarity yet, right? They're still in the chair and they're still upset. There's not entirely clarity yet, right? And so anything from the body, a twitch, a move, a laugh, a sigh, anything at all, that's the body speaking. So I always welcome stuff like that, because I will just tell a story around it. I will say that part of you loves you so much and is always going to alert you when something like this is going on. But the thing is, and tell me if this is true or not, she ignored it for a little while. So it had to kind of get louder. It kind of had to get in your face, kind of had to scream at you because you weren't listening. And now it's used to having to yell at you to get your attention. So I would even suggest to my client that we're going to talk to that part, thank it, because it knew all along. And I would say, you knew it all along. You did. And lift that part up for always knowing, and then have the self say that I'm sorry to that part for not listening. And the self's going to say something like, I was scared. I didn't want to believe it. And that part that's giving the headache is going to say, I know, but man, you stressed us out by not listening to the truth, right? There's going to be due of forgiveness there with the part that's making a headache. And the idea is that the part that's making a headache gets to go back to just a simple ding. It doesn't have to do that anymore, right? And so it's kind of like, I don't know if you guys have these sensations anymore, but the moment you feel it, you're like, okay, that's my warning signal. Like, let's say that you eat something weird, has some weird oil in it, and you feel that sensation in your tummy, like you're going to have an upset tummy. Like, sometimes you're like, that's your warning signal. Like, I hope you're not out on a 10-mile hike or something like that. You know what I mean? So we can get these sensations from our body that are kind of like these, signals, right? These warning signals. And I would be paying attention to, I would advise her that part can help her by speaking to her through the body, so that when she's quiet and she notices that thing in her head, the point isn't to make her head hurt. The point is to ask her to stop. Calm down. Go do your alpha sequence. When you're there, you will learn what the message is. This is just someone knocking on the door. But if you don't listen, it's going to get louder and louder and louder and louder. It's that important. You wouldn't say it. This part wouldn't be knocking on the door otherwise. So you get really, really good at paying attention to that feeling in your body, because it's a very powerful feeling. And this is you meeting your needs at the deepest level. This is you loving yourself at the deepest level. Yeah. I love it when they have physical stuff, because then there's often a real opportunity for them to get a mind blow, because if they trust in us and listen to what we're saying, we can help them resolve it. We can often help the feeling, the sensation go away, because it's often a passing sensation that's being brought up by the emotion. And often they didn't walk in the door with it. It has to be passing in some way, right? So it's a passing sensation. They're at the right place at the right time. You're at the doctor's office when your arm breaks, right? I mean, could you be at a better place, right? And so there we are. And we get to help them right as it's happening, right? Have a better response. So by the end of the session, she could say, man, that sharp pain in my head was so intense. And then I listened to it. I paid attention to it instead of ignoring it or shoving it down because it was painful to think about or worry or wonder what it was. I paid attention and listened. And the moment I agreed to do that, the resistance came down. And with the resistance being down, I immediately felt more peaceful. Immediately felt more peaceful. That's what we would hope that client would say, right? Yeah. And so her noticing that sensation in her body and being friends with it, so to speak, like it's a warning or an alert, or it's like a guard. It's like her security guard coming to tell her that there's a problem. And if she listens to it, there's no break-in. She doesn't, she might, something else might happen, but reword it for her in a way that helps her know that this is empowering. That kind of sensation is empowering, because when you listen to it, oh, I'm noticing something else that hasn't made it up to my conscious awareness yet. And so when I feel that sensation, there's something else for me to be aware of. That's all it is. And so the moment that I stop and pay attention, instead of trying to turn it down, now I get the message. At least that's how it works for me. That's when I excuse myself and go to the bathroom. Going to the bathroom is such a hack. Nobody's going to stop you from going to the bathroom, right? So like if I'm not feeling good, or like if I'll just go use the restroom and sit down, close my eyes, do the alpha sequence, or just taking a deep breath. And the moment I disconnect from the chaos of that situation, now my only risk of doing something like that is I'll start crying if it's a big deal, right? Because it's emotional. But so you can help her get to the bottom of that. And then she can leave having felt the pain, gotten rid of it herself, with kind of the nature of why it's coming up, all at the same time, because it's happening when she's in front of you. My suspicion, and in a lot of cases, it does seem to be happening for a lot of my clients, have physical sensations right around the ISE, right around there. We're getting close. I've had clients, not very many, but a couple get dizzy. Okay. If my clients get dizzy, I will ask them to basically slow down their breathing. And I ask them we basically do a grounding exercise. I just have them imagine that they're sitting on the ground. If they'd like to open their eyes, they can open their eyes. And they're just in the room with me.